Okay, guys, we're going to keep reading. We've just discussed what we think the inciting force and the conflict are. It's still a little bit vague in this part of the story, so as I read the next section, keep the conflict in the back of your head if you're not completely confident in what you think the conflict is, and we can revisit that as well in the next section. I'm about to read the rising action, which are the events that come after the conflict, after when the conflict is introduced, as the protagonist, or the main character, the wife in this case, tries to solve their problem. I'm going to go back and read a little bit from the last piece, the last section we read, just because I think it'll flow a little bit better. And this is the last thing we read was about, she was reflecting on her husband's father and the gossip that kind of came out after what happened to her husband. And so she's saying, it's something runs in the blood. Always it happens in the dark of the moon when everybody's home and asleep. Something comes over the one that's got the curse in the blood, they say, and he gets up because he can't sleep, and he goes out into the glaring sun and goes off all alone, drawn to find those like him. And it may be so. We're at the where we should be. Sorry. And it may be so because my husband would do that. I'd half rouse and say, "Where are you going?" And he'd say, "Oh, hunting. Be back this evening." It wasn't like him. Even his voice was different, but I'd be so sleepy and not wanting to wake the kids, and he was so good and responsible. It was no call of mine to go asking why and where and all of that. And so it happened that way, maybe 3 times or 4. He'd come back late and worn out and pretty near cross for one so sweet-tempered, not wanting to talk about it. And I figured everybody's got to bust out now and then. And nagging never helped anything, but it did begin to worry me. Not so much that he went, but that he came back so tired and strange. Even he smelled strange and made my hair stand up on end. I could not endure it, and I said, "What is that? Those smells on you, all over you?" And he said, "I don't know," real short, and made like he was sleeping. But he went down when he thought I wasn't looking and washed himself. But those smells stayed in his hair and in our bed for days. And then the awful thing. I don't find it easy to tell about this. I want to cry when I have to bring it to my mind. Our youngest, the little one, my baby, she turned from her father just overnight. He come in and she got all scared looking, stiff with her eyes wide. And then she began to cry and try to hide behind me. She didn't yet talk plain, but she was saying over and over, "Make it go away, make it go away." And the look in his eyes, just for one moment, when he heard that, that's what I don't ever want to remember. That's what I can't forget. The look in his eyes, looking at his own child. I said to this child, "Shame on you, what's got into you?" Scolding, but keeping her right close up to me at the same time because I was frightened too. Frightened to shaking. He looked away then and said something like, "Guess she just waked up dreaming and passed it off that way." Or tried to. And so did I. And I got real mad with my baby when she kept on acting crazy scared of her own dad. But she couldn't help it. And I couldn't change it. He kept away that whole day because he knew, I guess, it was just beginning dark of the moon. So stop and notice number 3. I want you to click to the answer page and just write down some of the main events that have occurred in this rising action. The events that are building to the climax. Okay, stop and notice. Go.